I just hit my live.
All right. Hey. Good afternoon. How you doing? You know what time it is. It's story time for those of you that rock with me, and you know exactly what we got going on. It's about that time. We are excited. Hello, Instagram. Girl, I'm back. All right. It's that time. Oh, yeah. Oh. We got a good one for y'all. It's story time. Hey.
Story time, y'all.
Yeah.
Rock with us. Tap in.
All right. Let me do what I need to get my man
Shout
up in the room.
Yeah.
I just sent you an invite, Joe. Hey,
okay.
Welcome. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We got Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Yeah. Lipsky in the building. What's up, St. August? See, I got my shirt on, y'all. Woo! You know it's your time to shine, Joseph. It's your time to shine. It's your time. All right, y'all. Bear with us while we get the volume like we need to get it. There we go. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. I like that song because it says, it's your time to shine. Now, hello, everybody. I want to make sure I have no echoes because we got two devices going on here, so we want to make sure we're good. Do you hear echo on your end? If you hear echo, put it in the comments and let me know. Joseph, let's make sure we got one device with the volume down or off. That's what I usually do, turn the volume off. Yeah, whatever. I think the echo just went away, so that was good. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so excited. I'm so excited about this young man that we have here today. Y'all bear with me. I'm relaxed today. You see, I'm representing my college today. If y'all follow me, y'all know I've been doing the thing for the HBCU. We won yesterday. We won our homecoming game, so we pumped up. So for St. Aug out there on Facebook, if you follow me, I'm representing yes, St. Aug College. Yes, indeed. So we are excited to be here. And I have a young man here, you know, and it's interesting because I thought about it when I put the shirt on, Joseph. First of all, let me say, good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm alive. I'm free. And my mindset is pure. So I'm doing fantastic.
That's amazing. And, you know, I thought about it because a lot of times when we are young, we are told, you know, go to school, get an education, get a good job, go to college. But that is not the track that everybody goes on. You know what, Joseph? Everybody don't go that route, you know? Yeah. And so you are a prime example of that. You know, so today we're going to share that with some people. We're going to get down and get busy. And I love the name you have as the underdog coach. Man, that is so amazing. God, let me tell you a little bit about who we have today on Story Time. He's a business owner. He has a company, an LLC at that, that's called Rich Mindset. Okay? Process that for a minute. Rich Mindset. So I think that means y'all need to get a pen and something to write. Y'all need to have a pen and something to write, because y'all might want to take some notes on this one right here, because he's going to drop the nuggets on you, okay? Yes, he is an author. He's a professional speaker. Guess what? He's certified with Toastmasters. If you know anything about Toastmasters, then you know what I'm talking about. All right. As a matter of fact, he got several certifications, which I'll let him share. All right. And he's a part of the prestigious GPS My Success, coached by the #1 breakthrough strategist, Kareem R. Ellis. He's been on many podcasts, guys, and radio shows, and he's graced many stages. And one of the things he has coming up is called From the Cage to the stage, from the cage to the stage. And I'm going to let him tell you about that a little bit more. So I don't want to talk too much about him, but 22 years in the cage, which we all know as prison, right? So he's going to come to us and he's going to drop the knowledge and he's going to tell you a little bit about who he is. But Joseph, I want to say welcome again. And before we go too far deep into it, say hello to the people. Tell us where you're from. Tell us where you were born and raised. A little bit of backstory about the little boy, Joseph.
Well, peace and love to the world. I'm grateful that I'm here at this particular moment because, as she reiterated before, the 22 years in the cage is somewhat frightening when you really look at it from a realistic point of view. So I really want to say that I'm grateful to be here, and I'm grateful that you acknowledge the things that I'm doing to inspire people and inspire myself as well. Because when I speak to others, I speak to myself. I have 2 ears, so 1 mouth. When I speak, I'm listening as well. So I never tell nobody to do nothing I wouldn't do or I don't have no desire to do. So that's first and foremost. So second of all, I'm from Brooklyn, New York, y'all. Brownsville, never ran, never will. Let me say that again. Brownsville, never ran, never will. You hear me? I come from this area, and I must say, you know, I grew up in this part of Brooklyn, New York City, born and raised. My mother, my father is from Brownsville, but my father is originally from East New York, right? So I'm a Brooklyn baby all the way around the board. But for me personally, I had 2 brothers, 2 sisters, and I'm the middle child. You know what they say about the middle child? He's like the black sheep or something like that, right? Brooklyn, you already know what it is. So, you know, growing up in this area, for me personally, I've been in trouble all my life. See, one thing about what we're going to do right here on Storytime, we're going to keep it all the way real. And for those who don't know what that means, we're going to be straight transparent. Ain't no faking, ain't none of that going on over here. You got to be your authentic self. So, growing up in Brownsville, you know, for me, I was, I ain't gonna lie, I was, you know, tricked. I was tricked into the street life, you know, like most of us. I was tricked into it. It wasn't easy for me to be tricked into it because as soon as you walk out your door, guess what happened? There's a war zone going on out there, right? Woo! Ain't no man safe from, right? Ain't no man, no woman safe from.
Let me stop you right there. Now, did that happen as a child? Did you run into these problems like in middle school or elementary school? Did you have those temptations back then?
Yes. What they consider jumping off the porch. I'm sure a lot of people heard this saying. You know, that's for people who's in our communities that leave their nests pretty early. For me, I was about 11 to 12 years old when I initially walked out the door, out the nest, and I just said, hey, I'm gonna find my way. Despite the fact that I had a phenomenal mother, and she still is a phenomenal woman, never committed a crime in her life, worked hard every day in Brooklyn Development Center. Peace and love to Diane Langdon White, my mother. Sue's a phenomenal woman. So when we go further in this story, you got to keep in mind, we want to place blame on the mothers and the fathers out here because once we walk out them doors, is another story now, right? So yes, this happened to me when I was young. From the age of 11, I was going to juvenile correctional institutions.
So wait, do me a favor, adjust your microphone because you sound like far away, like it's like an echo. Like, are you on a device or something?
Can you hear me better? Can y'all hear me better now?
Yeah, that sounds a little better.
Okay, I apologize. So you know,
move over
growing up
to me. Slide over.
Right here.
The other way.
Here we go.
There we go. Okay.
There we go, y'all. We got to make this picture perfect because this impression is going to last you for a lifetime, y'all. What the things I'm about to tell y'all is going to change your whole mindset. So let's go back. Now, what I was talking about is these things happening to me at a young age in Brooklyn, New York. Like the vast majority, I don't care if you're from Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Staten Island, Virginia, right? All of these problems is in our communities, which is being bullied, psychologically indoctrinated with concepts that's not even about living or surviving. So basically, people use you and you get used, and that's where that saying hurt people come from, right? So that's initially what happened to me.
Okay, I gotta stop you again. And y'all forgive me because we gotta make this right because on some of these episodes it's going on the radio too. I still hear that distance. You sound far away. Are you working through some kind of device with the sound, or you?
No. No, I'm on straight IG right now, so I'm not sure what's going on. You know, can you hear me good now?
I hear you good. It just sounds like it's not clear. It's not clear. Like the audio, it sounds like you're far away, like in a tunnel. So I want to make sure that it's clear because I want to be able to use this episode. So that's why I keep harping on that. I want to make sure and wipe that.
Yes, it's very important.
Very important. Wipe that device that you're using for IT. Wipe that device off too, so that one is super clear. Because I want you to be able to see you and have no problem. While he's getting that done, guys, I want you to understand when you go to do a podcast or do anything that is going to be visible and audible, you want to have a type of professionalism, and you want to have it to the point where it can be used. You know, so I'm not just out here on the internet, but some of these things do get repurposed and used and sent to different places like Spotify, radio stations, and things. So that's why I have to make sure that the sound is clear and that it is radio ready as well. So that's why we're harping on that. So do you have any siblings, Joseph?
Yes, I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters, ranging from the age of 50 all the way down to like 35 years old, actually 31 years old. My baby sister just had a baby, so I'm proud of her right now. You know, just seeing life, because I was incarcerated for so long, I was not able to see life be born. You know, it's very intimate for me to see my little nephew right now. You know.
Now let me ask you a question. So you did 22 years. So was that your first time being incarcerated, or did you go in and out? It's what they call recidivism. Was it something like where you were in juvenile court and then it kind of kept happening? Or take us down that path. Was you the kid that nobody would have thought got in trouble, or was you just that one that everybody like, yeah, we knew that?
Well, I was the one, unfortunately, that everybody knew was going to get in trouble, right? My track record in terms of being a star athlete got trouble, I think I was like Usain Bolt, right? I was the fastest one to the crime and the last one to get away, right? So this is something that's been repetitive all my life in terms of juvenile first. For the vast majority of people who go to prison, they started off in the juvenile facility, juvenile correctional systems, because there is where you would think they would change how we think. But unfortunately, they don't. So we just prolong the criminal mindset and become grown adult criminals, right? So mine started from a very young age, 11, 12 years old, stealing, burglary, robbing houses. Until at the age of 13, I was picked up for a murder case.
Wow. So would you say that came from the company that you kept?
Well, it came from the community that I lived in, more so than the company that I kept. You know, when you coming up in not just Brooklyn, it could be anywhere where there's poverty, where there's hunger, where there's desperation, where there's anger and rage and confusion. When you in environments like that, you're going to replicate what you see. So what I seen around me was people who was desperate, who was hungry, was depressed, was willing to do anything for some money just to feed themselves, let alone their families, right? Unfortunately. So this is something that I seen from the day that I actually walked out my house until the day I walked into a prison system, right? So for me, like I was saying, like growing up in Brooklyn, for me, it was my surroundings. And my surroundings was that of, you know, people who had the mindset to get rich or die trying.
Wow. And I guess that's how you came up with the thought process that eventually you're going to create the rich mindset because of everything that you just spoke about. But before we go into that, let me ask you something. While you was incarcerated, you took advantage of that time. You got many certifications, you bettered yourself, you empowered yourself. Let's talk about that. How important is it for individuals who may go down that wrong path and they may end up being incarcerated for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 22 years? How important is it for them to do that and take advantage of the system and to better themselves while they're there?
Well, that is a very great question, right? And the reason why that question is so important is because we don't think about the afterlife while we're doing crimes. When you're in the mix of doing a crime, all you can think about is not getting caught. So when you do get caught, you didn't have a plan B. What happens is you just adjust to the environment. Once again, we're the greatest at adjusting to environments. When I say we, I'm talking about people who are poverty-stricken. We figure out ways to survive and get our way and do what we got to do just to make it to the next day. So that's essentially what happens to us when we go to jail. We go into prisons and we become in tune with all the other criminals from different places who could teach us how to do a different crime, right? So keep in mind, there's more people in there telling you to do wrong things than in there telling you to do the right thing. So for me personally, it took me a while for me to start realizing what was going on. I would tell you the honest to God truth, my first 10 years in prison, I was oblivious to what was going on. Let me say that again. My first 10 years in prison, I was oblivious to what was going on because I had my homies in prison with me. They had a couple, contraband items in prison where I feel like I'm still on the streets. And at the same time, I felt like this was a part of my destiny. I was destined to go to jail because everybody told me you're going to be dead in jail when I was 12, 13 years old. So I believed them. Just like the vast majority of the rest of these young people out here believe them. When someone tells you, hey, you got a talent, you can sing, right? And then somebody else tell you that, you're going to start saying, hold up now, I might got something here. Let me try this out now. That's the same thing with crime. When somebody's constantly telling you you're not going to survive, you're going to jail, you're going to die, you're nothing, guess what happens? You manifest that. And that's what happened to me. I manifested it. So when I got to prison, I just prolonged what I was doing on the streets my first 10 years. And it's crazy, but that's what happens.
Wow. I thank you so much for that. We got a couple people checking in and she said good morning. And I want to say this to you right now. You might have felt like the first 10 years you kind of wasted, but I believe that because you didn't do anything in the first 10 years, on that latter half, you went all the way in and you made up for the 10 years that you didn't do. Because when I look at all those certificates, talk a little bit about what you accomplished in there, because that is amazing. I know a couple people who've been, did a bit here and there. But when I saw your certificate, I went, dang, he was serious. Like, what was that? I mean, you was in overdrive. Was that to keep you out of trouble, or was that you just got motivated and got hungrier and hungrier and hungrier?
I would say, to be honest with you, the certifications came my last 3 years in prison. So after my 19th year in prison, that's when I really made the serious transition in my life. I knew that I was going to be 41 years old from the age of 19. Keep in mind, I never really worked. I never owned nothing besides what the average dude in the community owned, which is a car with somebody else's name and, doing all these different things. So I knew from there that I couldn't come back home the same. I was like, no, man, I ain't get out to do those 22 years. And people look at me the same as they did when I came home, before I went to prison. So I met a couple great people along the way. Keep in mind, y'all, meeting people along the way is up to you to keep your eyes open so you can recognize when somebody's coming to contribute to your life. Right. So for me, I met a lot of people along the way, but one in particular was a brother named Dr. Kareem R. Ellis, who walked inside this penitentiary in 2017. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't know him. He didn't know me. He wasn't even coming to see me. But I always was aware that people are coming into your life. What reasons? I don't know. Some for a season, some for a reason, right? But you always got to keep your eyes open because you never want to underestimate somebody that God sent to you in your life. You know what I mean? That's the worst thing. It's like the worst blessing blocking when God sends somebody in your life and you ignore it, right? So I didn't ignore this. I didn't ignore this. I met this man. I didn't know he was a Les Brown speaker. I didn't know he was a professional speaker. I didn't even know who Les Brown was at this particular moment. I didn't even know what motivational speaking was at this particular moment, right? But this man walked in this prison and he told me that I had a story. I said, a story? What kind of story I got? I'm a bank robber. I'm a gangbanger. I'm a thief. Like, this is what the world recognized me as before I went to prison. So what kind of story do I have? He said, everybody has a story. Everybody has a gift. Everybody has a talent. Everybody has a skill set. It's up to you to unearth it, discover it, and bring it to the world to figure it out, right? So when he told me that, I couldn't believe that I never had nobody tell me something like that before. So it was kind of like mind-boggling. And I came to the realization that he was right. I could do anything I want to do. So this is where the process came from. Now, he mentioned to me something about Toastmasters. Let me show y'all something about how God works, y'all. This is what I mean by don't underestimate what God sent people to you in your life. So he tells me about Toastmasters, right? I never knew what it was, never heard of it. What is that? I wound up getting into a riot. This is what happens in prison. You fight, things like that happen. I wound up getting into a riot, sent to another prison. Okay. Once I'm walking down the hallway, I see a class called Toastmasters. I'm like, wow. Ain't that the class that bald head dude told me about? Because at this time, I didn't even know his name. Only met him once. Ain't this that class? So I wound up going in that class, and I fell in love with the artist speaking. I seen people with tattoos like myself. I seen people crying. I seen people telling their stories of motivation, and it was moving, and it was coming from voices in mouths that it shouldn't come from, according to statistics, right? According to statistics. So that is what galvanized me ultimately to wanting to start changing my life. And I also said to myself one day, I said, man, I can't go out there in the streets and tell people to change their life just on words alone. I have to have the credentials to match what I'm saying. So when I am stepping on the stage and people hear what I'm saying, they can say, well, this brother is, you know, he did do what he's telling us to do. You know, maybe he is trying to help us. So I just want to have as much advantage as I could, right? Because for one, coming out of prison, they're already looking at you as a scam. They're already looking at you as a criminal. They're always looking at you can't change. They're already looking at you as a felon. They already have all of these different opinions about you. So how can you have those same opinions about me when I got the paperwork to prove that I've been changing my mindset? So that's why I did that, just to show that it can be done.
Wow. So Toastmaster certificate. What else? I know you have a few.
Oh yeah, I have Toastmasters. You know what's crazy, Miss Crystal? Now check this out. I had a conversation with my mother probably about like 6 to 7, 8 months before I got out. Now, mind you, I'm 40 years old at the time, right?
Right.
And I'm telling my mother all these grand stories of what I'm gonna do when I get out, all of the things that I'm doing now. Of course, your mother's gonna believe you, even though she don't believe you, right? Because your pattern of life has showed otherwise, right?
Yes.
So for me, she told me, she was like, did you get your high school diploma yet? Well, she said GED. Did you get your GED yet? Now, mind you, I've been in prison 22 years at this time. I got 6 months left. I got every type of certification you could think of: anger management, re-entry, POI, psychology of incarceration, my Toastmasters International, NSA, National Speaking Association. I could go on and on. There's so many, right? But the one that I lack
was the GED.
Yeah, so this is what I did. I had 6 months left, y'all. I said, well, I can't go out there and tell nobody to go to school. I ain't go to school. I can't go out nobody and tell nobody to go get an education because I don't have what according to paperwork, right? So I went and got my high school diploma later for a GED, y'all. I went and got my high school diploma, and I also got my brick masonry license simultaneously at the same time.
Wow.
So essentially, the high school diploma with the brick mason certification, with the Toastmaster certification, with the anger management certification, with the POI psychology of incarceration, along with my books that I wrote, which was 4 in its totality in prison. And I said, okay, now I have all the credentials I'm going to need to walk into these schools, to walk into these juvenile jails, to walk into these prisons and say, hey, if I did it, you can do it. And here's the proof.
Wow. So, man, that's a lot. So let me get this straight. The last 6 months you went and got your high school diploma and your brick masonry. That's amazing. That's what you call focus, like laser focus, right?
Yes.
Now, let's go fast forward to that last week. That last week after 22 years and you get ready to get out. What did that feel like? Was it anticipation? Was you scared? Was you, like wondering, oh man, what am I going to do? Or what was you thinking on that last week as you were counting down those 7 days before it was the day for you to walk out the bars. The last time you're going to hear them bars, the last time you're going to hear them say, it's mealtime, it's bedtime. What were you thinking?
I was prepared. A man or woman who prepares and plans to win, never plans to fail. My plan was so vivid because it came from something beneath me, beyond me.
Yes.
Right? Yes. I used to sit in my cell in prison, and I was losing my mind in there because I was in isolation for 5 years by myself. And I was losing my mind. I was starting to get depressed. I was starting to get angry, and there was nothing I could do but just sit here. Wow. So I started talking to God, right?
Yes.
And I really never had a conversation with God because every time he talked to me before, it sounded like DMX, like, yo, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm hearing this voice like, oh, well, who is? I couldn't really put it together. It sounded like DMX right here. Is this God? I couldn't figure it out. And then one day it came real clear to me, and it came in the voice of Barry White, very soothing. And it told me that you had a purpose. I'm telling you, this really happened in my time of despair, in a time where I was ready to give up.
Wow.
Like I had nothing else in me. And his voice told me, in the Barry White, you know how, let your head down, baby, get you in the mood. You know how Barry come in this, that's how it came to me. And I woke up and I said, yo, I've been, at this time, I was probably in there like 18 years. And I said, wow, when I come home, what am I going to be able to offer somebody besides a jail story of, you know, this person stabbed somebody or this person got beat up? Or what else can I offer the youth, right? Because that's my main goal, because I was incarcerated since a kid, and I realized the tradition, the cultural experience of going in from a juvenile to now becoming a full-fledged adult. This is the process. If y'all don't know that, they give you little cases when you're a juvenile just to have you on file. And as you expand your horizons in terms of the criminal underbelly, they got places for you. So while I was in there, I said, man, God, please show me a sign. Show me a sign, God. Just show me a sign. And he showed me so many signs, Miss Crystal. I'm telling you, I was at the brink of destruction.
So you were prepared. Because of that, you were prepared. So,
I knew what I needed. I knew what I needed.
What was the first thing you did when you got out? When you left, you had somebody pick you up. You had it arranged. Somebody came to get you. Most men, now I'm gonna digress for a minute. Most men, after being there 22 years, being deprived of certain physical activities, things like that, that first 24, 48 hours, 72 hours, if they have a significant other, that might be their first stop. So I'm going to ask you, what was the first thing on your mind when you got out of there? Like, okay, I need to go take care of this. What was that?
This is going to be funny to you, right? But it was a Popeye chicken sandwich.
Okay, wow.
Let me tell you why, right? This might sound crazy. Because when I was in prison, you know, when your first last 2-3 days, you're around everybody know you about to get out. They say, man, do this for me. And at this particular time, it was around the COVID. When I came home, it was COVID 2020. I came home during the COVID process. And all we used to see on the TV was this Popeye chicken sandwich, right? So I said, man, when I get out, the first thing I'm going to do is get me a Popeye chicken sandwich. And I'm going to make a video, and I'm going to send it to my people in prison so they can see what it looks like to be free. And then, second of all, was I got on my, you know, my big pun, I'm not a player, but I crush a lot. Of course, I'm not a player, but I crush a lot, right? But my first thing was to show them brothers back where I was at that this was real. This was a reality, and you can do it too.
Yes. Yeah. You said the Popeyes, right?
Yeah.
Now,
hey, this really happened. You'll be surprised when we think about in prison.
So have you ever thought about going back to that facility? Will they let you go back and speak to them?
Okay, so this is the funny thing about that, right? So now I've been out 2 years now, right? I've been out 2 years.
Slide over. You slide. You getting excited. There you go.
Yeah, you know, hey, you know, I know
that's okay.
This the energy, right? So what happened was the lady, her name is Miss Grant. She's the one who helped me get my Toastmasters certifications. Yes. She's the one who got the Toastmasters program inside this particular prison for us to be able to get certified from the streets to the prison, opposed to just have some certifications in jail. Some jail stuff. No, these are real, you know, certifications. So to get back to your question, I spoke to her probably a couple months ago, because you have to go a certain amount of time before you can go into these prisons. So being that this is my second year out, I haven't been handcuffed again. I haven't been in any trouble or anything like that. So she's saying that she's going to help me now get back into these prisons, because this was our plan. Before I even left. See, everything I told these people I was going to do, Miss Crystal, I've done it, and I'm doing it. Wow. So it's kind of easier for people to want to help you when they see you helping yourself, but not making it about yourself, right? Because it's not about me. I'm just trying to save another kid from going to jail, you know, and ruining their life.
Wow. Well, let me start by just applauding you, man. OMG. Because we know how challenging it is, and we know about recidivism. When people come out, they go back, they come out, they go back, they get on probation. And so you have kept yourself out of trouble. You have pick the right people to be around, because it's about people, places, and things, and you have made sure that you got with like-minded people who have a focus on being successful, being entrepreneurs, or just having something in life. So I just want to say, man, kudos to you for that, because that is major, and you can definitely take this story on the road and help impact a lot of people coming out of those walls, man. So now, the Rich Mindset LLC, when did you set that up?
So I started that. Well, initially, I started my business when I first came home, 30 days after I got out of prison. This is for the people out there right now who are one step away from success, or one step away from a jail cell or a graveyard. This message right here that I'm about to tell y'all is for you.
Yes.
The ones who are one step away from success, or one step away from a graveyard or a prison yard, right?
Yeah.
I had no idea or no clue on how to start a business. Think about it. I was in jail since I was 19, all the way to I was 41. Prior to that, I was in juvenile halls all my life. So I had no full, complete understanding on how to start a business. So the number one thing I did was be consistent and persistent that I was going to do this and nothing was going to stop me. Because in my mind at the time, I'm thinking a business costs thousands of dollars to start. Thousands of dollars. This is what the average person who don't know how the system works, they think that it's unbelievable. You just, well, for some of us, it only costs $100 to start a business. Let me say that again. It only costs $100 to start a business. In some states, it might be $200 to $300, depending on where you at. You know, like how the system works in terms of your state, the money.
Yes,
you know, some places more expensive than others. Like California is more expensive than Ohio.
Right.
Virginia is less expensive than New York. So of course the license will be cheaper. So for me, I'm in Ohio, so I started my business in the state, and I paid roughly $125 to start my business, which is a LLC, Joseph P. Langdon Enterprise at this particular time with that LLC. So I paid $99 for the business license, y'all. You go right to whatever state you in, City Hall, type in LLC, business license, $100. Then I paid an extra $25 for the name search. So roughly $125, I started my business. And 3 months later, I published my first book right here from the Sandbox to the Cell Block. Like I said, I had no knowledge, I had no information. All I had was willpower.
So hold on one moment. Show that book again, and what's the name of the book, and where can move it over the other way. Where can they get that book?
Well, this is at Amazon.com. You can get this on Amazon. This is my first book that I published when I came home from the Sandbox to the Cell Block. A story of struggle, oppression, and redemption. Essentially, this story is about how I started off my journey of crime, the different phases I've been through, the different crimes I've been through, the things I had to do to survive. Because I must say, even though y'all seeing this refined image of me now, the journey, it was extremely hard. It was definitely something that even to this moment, putting yourself out there and trying to help others is definitely something that's difficult, because the whole world right now is talking about kill, bang, bang, shoot them up. But I'm here to talk about upliftment, empowerment, and take your life serious. So it's kind of hard when you're pushing that narrative. But this is my first book. It was fairly easy for me to do. Honestly, y'all, I'm being honest, transparent. I probably paid about $300 to publish this book. That's it. I paid $300 to publish this book. I started my own publishing company. So for those who out there who have books, who want to publish their books, who thinks it's difficult, I'm here for you. You can just reach out to me. Miss Crystal, I have my information. You can look me up, Joseph P. Langdon. You can Google me, whatever the case may be. So my second book is coming out. It's called From the Cage to the Stage. And it goes back to this whole LLC thing. I want to show and prove that something that can be done once can be done twice. Something that was done once can be done twice. So in November, my new book will be coming out. But this book is more different. It speaks on business. It speaks on the steps that I took. It speaks on how I was able to avoid oppression and depression, stress, anger, and rage, as well as suppressing my feelings. Because, you know, coming out of prison with angry people, you would think I come out here angry.
Right.
I believed in the process, and I'm just trying to share with people out there that if I can do something after doing 22 years in a graveyard, literally a graveyard where I couldn't walk out, you also can take the steps right now to change the whole forecast of your life. It's not that hard. It's just that we don't have the information, we don't have the education, nor we have the right people in our lives that really want to see us be successful. So the LLC part of it, I started it 30 days after I got out of prison.
Wow. So I see here that you basically, what you want to do is you want to show people how to basically utilize those steps. And I see here you have those steps: the communication, the self-motivation, leadership, fortitude, and execution. And you said these 5 important steps are designed and customized for anybody to have a mindset shift. Let's talk about that for a minute. The mind, we know the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And we know a lot of people don't know this, but you have 650,000 thoughts a day. 650,000 thoughts a day. So that means that, you got to be real careful, because an idle mind is a devil's workshop. And if you're not doing anything, like he said before, if you don't plan, your work, and then work your plan, then you could easily fail. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure that you have a goal. You have something that you're trying to accomplish. So let's talk about these 5 steps and how you help people with this. So besides having speaking engagements, can people bring you in to show people this? I mean, are you
Yes.
coming in as a speaker, or do you have workshops? How can you get people this information?
Okay, so in November, my new book, From the Cage to the Stage, will be distributed on a mass level: Walmart, Amazon, Barnes and Nobles. Me personally selling it, whatever the case may be.
Hold up,
but this book,
you said Walmart?
Oh yes, it's going to be in Walmart. It's going to be in Barnes and Nobles. It's going to be next month, literally. It's going to be in Barnes and Nobles. It's going to be in Amazon.com. It's going to be in Walmart. It's going to be in 26 different establishments where people can purchase this book.
And you did that yourself?
Yes. I have my own publishing company, Rich Marset Publishing Company. I publish my own books. I write my own books. I publish them. I distribute them. I have a partner as well. Her name is Amanda Campbell. She's my editor, somebody I've known since I was a kid. Ironically, I known it all my life, and she believed in my vision, and she made it happen for me. So we co-partnered. So to get to what you were saying in terms of sharing the story of pain and glory and how I'm able to replicate it, I created a workshop called the Underdogs to Top Dogs Academy. From Underdogs to Top Dogs Academy. See, a lot of people don't realize an underdog is the vast majority of people in the world, right? And if you look at the definition of an underdog, it's somebody who is about to take part in something that they never done before, right? And want to win at it. So this is what we all doing every day. We wake up, we got a dream of maybe singing, rapping, dancing, education, being a lawyer, doctor, whatever the case may be. But in order for it to truly work, right, you have to be adamant about it. You have to make it happen. So I create this 8-week program that speaks on those 5 basic principles that you just elaborated on: communication, self-motivation, leadership, fortitude, and the execution. Communication is something that we all do. We all listen. We all speak. This is the most important virtue that we have amongst humanity. And if we can't talk, we figure out ways to do hand sign languages. We have to be able to say what we got to say. If we don't like something, we got to speak on it. If we like something, we speak on it. But most importantly, listening. Listening is 50% of communication. Because if I'm speaking and I don't listen, that means I'm not taking in or retrieving the information you're giving me. That leads to self-motivation. Every day you got to get up. Nobody's going to give you anything. Just because somebody say, hey, I got a vision, God gave you a vision, and you believe this vision is the greatest vision in the world, if you don't apply it and show that it works.
Hey, can I interject something right there about the listening? 90% is listening. So that's why people have to learn not to talk so much, to really listen. Actively listen. But here's the other thing. Did you know that the other 10% is really how you react to stuff? It's not just the things that happen to you in life, but it's how you react to those things. So you need to listen to it, but you also need to take heed to what's happening and be real mindful of your reaction to things, So that's why you can't be impulsive. You have to be intentional. So I love what you're telling them about that. Now, you said self-motivation. Joseph, some people are not motivated, though. They're
not motivated. They wait for somebody else to call them on the phone. They wait for somebody else's vision to come true so their vision could come true. Hopefully they let them in the plan and all that. Nah. That's not how we going to do this. You want to be the author of your destiny? That means you got to get up and do it. Nobody cares how good Joseph P. Langdon speaks. Nobody cares about how much time I did in prison unless what I'm saying is applicable or practical, where they can take the same steps and change their life. Other than that, it's a billion people who've been in prison, right? Actually, 2.2 million. So what makes my story any different is the fact that I get up every day, passionate, purpose-driven, to share this story that, yo, you can also get up and change your life. So that's that details the self-motivation part. But leadership, think about this. Every gang, we can even go to the gangs. Everybody replicates leadership, right? If you go to McDonald's right now, y'all, you say, hey, I want to be a manager here. The first thing they're going to ask you is, do you got any work experience as a supervisor?
Right. Slide over.
We talking about McDonald's. We talking about flipping a burger, throw some sauce, some fries, some chicken nuggets. Even they're going to ask you, do you have any experience in this field of leadership, right? Therefore, churches, gangs, hospitals, lawyer firms, wherever you at, produces the next leadership, right? So that means leadership is something that can be duplicated. So if I learned how to be a leader from other leaders, that means I can show you step by step how to be that as well. So that's why I stress leadership, because it took other leaders to show me how to lead. And not only lead, but to be a firm student and be receptive. So leadership is very important for everybody out there. You might be a follower now, right? But guess what? If you follow the right people, you'll lead the right people next time, right?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that. Because you have to follow first. You have to follow and serve first before you will have your own. You know, God makes it that way. You know, you have to serve another man and help them get through. And what that's doing is that's giving you that experience. That's giving you that hindsight and foresight, so you understand what it takes to do those things. Joseph, now let me ask you, that's really good stuff. Let me ask you this. So you never thought about going to get a job. Now, a lot of people's challenge when they come out of being incarcerated is, you know, they tried to go get a job and they get rejected. So you never experienced that because you came out and did your own thing, or did you try to get a job also? And if you did, can you speak about that? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people, they get even more discouraged because when they come out, nobody wants to give them that second chance.
Okay, that's very, very important. Let me stress this fact. I have a job right now. I actually have two jobs. I work in home health care. So I go around helping other people who are in, you know, in a situation where they can't help themselves, right? So from the day I walked out of prison, my second day I had a job. I got a job.
How did you do that? You sold yourself? Was it somebody you knew, or was that a stranger?
No, it's fairly easy to get a job out here. Don't let people tell you about this felony stuff and all that stuff. That's bull crap, right? I really want to say the S part, right? That's bull crap, right? But so for me, I've been out here 2 years. I probably had about 6 jobs, and I use jobs as something just to maintain my lifestyle until my purpose becomes something that creates solutions. Because, you know, for solutions, you get rewards, right? So I maintain jobs. For example, I work in home health care, but I also work in, manufacturing factories, right? I manufacture parts, right? But all of this right here was a part of my plan. Let me elaborate on that for those who out there who are on the fence of a job and on the fence of their career, right? You have to have some type of income to come into your life so you don't have to be desperate, because desperate people do desperate things. And it's not hard for you to remember where you was just at in prison, because we could go back in there and get comfortable again, right? You can I could go to prison right now and won't have no problems, because I've been in there long enough where people know me, right? Also, I know the rules to that place. However, that's not something I'm willing to do anymore. So therefore, I knew I need a job. I can't sell crack. I can't sell dope. Those things, that's what, you know, got me 22 years anyway, right? So I knew if I just took things like this, intellectual property, I use the dope game, and I'm speaking to the young kids out there right now. Yeah, I have to speak to y'all right now, even the elders, right? I use the same format that they use in the dope game, because I sold dope, and that's not something I'm proud of, right? But I have to be honest. So what I said to myself, okay, some people pay $4,000 or $5,000 to make a book. Go look it up. People charge you $4,000 to publish their book. You put it together for them. I paid $300 to do this, right? Which means I already figured out a solution to my problem. So I didn't have the money to pay $4,000 to publish a book.
There you go.
So what I said, I got to get like MacGyver. I got to start putting gadgets together, things together. Yes. That's when your brain start working. Yes. And I said to myself, If I can sell dope, I can sell hope.
Well,
if I can sell dope, I can sell hope.
You can sell dope, you can sell hope.
Yeah. If I can sell dope, I can sell hope. So I said to myself, okay, I'm gonna publish this book. I went and found out all the rules to the publishing game, which you can Google or you can look on YouTube and they'll show you step by step, or you can reach out to me and me personally will show you how to put your life into this form. It's called selling your story, right? So to answer your question, I just looked at it like the dope game. The less money you spend and the more you can make, that means you are flipping your money. So that's how I looked at it. I sell socks, I sell shirts, I sell t-shirts, I sell jeans, I sell whatever I have to do to avoid me selling my soul in prison.
Did y'all catch that? So in other words, he took everything that he was doing out in the streets and he figured out how to change that into a business setup and structure. And that's what I tell people all the time, because like you said, if you're out there, if you got people working for you, you collecting your money, you getting the product, you out there, you are already a businessman. And he said something else key. If you didn't catch what he said, I need you to go back and think about it. He spoke about you having supplemental income, but he spoke about it getting it passively. And he spoke about finding a way to do something where you could duplicate yourself. And when you do that, then you start empowering yourself. When you figure out a way to earn passive income. Passive income is where you make money in your sleep. You know what I mean? It's not where you trade the time for $1. You know, when you go work for somebody and they give you 40 hours and then you make an amount, or even a salary, that's still linear income. So those are two key things he told you about. Joseph, let me ask you this. So what was the biggest experience that, or learning, I want to say, no, let me retract that. What was the biggest lesson you learned in those 22 years while being incarcerated that you could now go back and tell someone who is getting ready to go do some time, or someone who's doing time and they're having a hard time? What is the biggest lesson you learned on how to keep yourself out of trouble and how to keep, because so many people, they have a date set, they're getting ready to get out, you know what I mean? But then they wind up in the hole. They wind up getting caught out there. They wind up getting in a fight. They wind up doing this. I know it's challenges that come, and they keep coming, especially when they get jealous and the haters say, oh, he's going to get out. So they set you up because they want to see you fail. They don't want to see you go. Can you talk about that?
Well, that's a double-sided question, right? Let me explain to you why. Now, when people see me doing the right thing in prison, and when I say the right thing, people know when you're doing the right thing. They watch you all day. We around each other all day. So opposed to me going to the dice game, because they shoot dice in prison, y'all. Don't get it, don't get this misconstrued. Opposed to me going to the dice game or to a session, you know what I'm saying? Because that happens too, right? They'll see me going to Toastmasters. Instead of me hanging out on the block with everybody in the prison, they'll see me writing a book. And that inspired so many people, because at first they didn't know what I was doing. They was like, yo, what you doing? What you doing, Joe? You writing a rap? That's what they typically say. You writing a rap? You doing legal work? What are you doing? I said, I'm writing a book, man. I'm writing a book. You writing a book? Yeah. Let me hear a little bit of it. Now, if you could convince somebody in prison that's doing life and don't care about nobody or nothing, that you have something, this is when I knew. They say, hey, we give you $10, man. Let us read your book. Now I send it to the hole. For those who don't know what the hole is, that's segregation when you're in a cell by yourself for 23 hours a day. I would send my book back into segregation through janitors and stuff like that. And dudes would pay me $10 in cookies to read my book.
Wow.
And they would pass it around and everybody would call me, hey, yo, holla at Joe. Tell me read that. So I knew what I was selling in terms of myself. I had some type of traction because I convinced the worst of the worst in terms of what society considers us, right? I convinced the worst of the worst to believe that they had purpose, right?
Wow.
I convinced the worst of the worst to even start coming to Toastmasters, to the point where I started my own program in prison. And this program is what I'm replicating out here, which is the underdogs turn top dogs. Of course, it wasn't called that then. It was more so-called kingdom building. We was kingdom building. And how I was able to serenade people with this insightful information and make them want to change is because they see me change. And when I say to see me change, I don't want to get this misconstrued. I was in prison stabbing people. I was in this prison fighting people. I was in segregation for probably 15 years out of the 22 years that I was in prison. So I was a problem in prison. This is what I'm saying, the miraculousness of this. This is not somebody who made a mistake, went to jail, and oh my God. No, this is somebody who knew what I was doing when I committed the crimes, went into jail with the mindset, if you mess with me, I'm gonna hurt you. And then ultimately, I changed it. How I changed it for those inside right now. Look at your mother. Look at your daughter. Look at your son. Look at your family. They send you money in prison. They do everything they could do for you to help you come visit you. But you in there sitting around like them 10 years you just did didn't mean nothing. Like this was just a part of the game. No, it's not a part of the game. When you get in that part of the game, you have to change the game. How you change the game? Start learning about yourself. Start figuring out what your gifts is. See who you are. See what you made of. How can you walk through life 20, 30 years and don't challenge yourself?
Yes.
Don't test yourself to see what you made of.
Wow. So listen, you know, IG has a tendency of cutting people off at an hour. So we got about 6 minutes. So I want to wrap it up and get you. So Joseph, how can people reach you if they want to find out about your program, if they want to get your book? I know you see his name there, aka The Underdog. Tell them what your social media usernames are and any contact information that you have and how people can reach you.
All right. See, this is first important because in November we have some epic things going on in terms of the Speaking Academy. So, you know, it's an 8-week course, y'all. And we breaking down every practical principle that will change your life. We're not talking about telling you something from Cleo. You know, hey, I see you feel child. You need to. No, we're not. We being real over here. We got practical steps that will change your life. So how would you be able to reach out to me? Easy. Underdogs Coach. UNDER Coach. Underdogs. Excuse me. You know what I'm saying with the S. Underdogs Coach at iCloud.com. At iCloud.com. And when you reach out to me, I must say there's so many different gifts that we have for people right now. And the first 10 people that reach out to us, because our program starts November 15th. The first 10 people that reach out to us and say Underdogs Coach through my email, of course, we're going to give you a free book. Not only are we going to give you a free book, we're going to also give you 2 chapters of the new book that's coming out from the cage to the stage that's going to ultimately change your life. And we're also giving you a 30-minute consultation free on how you can take this blueprint and change your life. And from there, if there's anything that you need more than that in terms of book publishing, in terms of how do you write the book, how do you start to speak on the stage for getting paid for your story, we go through all of those different dimensions and we share the greatest gift of all, which is information that we got from the greatest of them all, Dr. Kareem R. Ellis, which is under the bloodline of, as y'all all know, Les Brown. Dr. Kareem R. Ellis is personally the one who changed my life step by step, who gave me the information as well as the principles, not the communication principles, but just the theme of how I can help others help themselves as he helped me. So reach out to me, Joseph P. Langdon, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever you go. But most importantly, if you reach out to me through the Underdogs Coach at iCloud.com, UNDERDOGS Coach at iCloud.com. The first 10 get a free book. They get 2 chapters of my new book that's coming out from the cage to the stage, which speaks on the basic necessities of the trifecta effect, which is the 3 cages: mental, physical, and emotional.
I love it. I want to thank you so much for sharing all this great information, man. And I hope that even people will reach out to you that may have a troubled teen or someone that you can probably help before they go down that path, before they get to that point. If you have a child that you think they're hanging with the wrong crowd and doing the wrong thing, and you just want somebody to talk to him, you heard him say how he was when he was a child. You want to have them talk to somebody who's been down that road again. Again, you was listening to Joseph Langdon. We call him the Underdog Coach. You know, 22 years in the prison system. Now he's going across all these stages. His next book coming up is From the Cage to the Stage. And he already told you he's got a publishing company along with his LLC, and he's going to help you do what you need to do to help change your mindset with his Rich Mindset LLC, which he did himself. So he's self-made, and he's determined, and he is living proof that it can be done. It can be done. You don't have to succumb to the system. You don't have to fall for that. It's all about you and your mindset, you know. As a man thinketh, so is he. So you have to get around the right people that's going to pour into you. I am so excited, and I'm so grateful that I crossed paths with you. I can't wait to see what you do next, and I look forward to staying connected. Again, he came from that city, y'all. He came from Brooklyn. So I'm excited. Brooklyn,
Brownsville, stand up, man.
If you for some reason don't know about Brooklyn and where that is, I mean, that's New York all day, New York all day, you know. So we're excited. Anytime we see our people flourishing and doing well, I just want to thank you. And anybody who came through, follow him, Joseph P. Langdon on IG. You also have a YouTube channel, which is the Rich Mindset YouTube. Is that correct? Follow him there. You can follow me at Jacques Crystal. Listen, if you have a story and you want to get the story out, everybody had the story. You heard him. You heard his reaction when somebody told him, man, you have a story. Well, let me tell you, if you're watching, you have a story. It doesn't matter whether it's good or bad. If you're an overcomer, a survivor, whatever it is, your story can help somebody else. So you can't keep it to yourself, okay?
No.
So please, let's talk. I want to thank you guys for coming here today. We got to get out of here. We got to move on to our next segment. Listen, it's our time. My name is Crystal Bodie Smith. I'm your Hope Catalyst. My mission is to stir up the gift, instill hope, and save lives. And we look forward to hearing from you. Again, reach out to me at Shout Crystal on IG, Crystal Bodie Smith on Facebook, Shout Crystal on the rest of the platform. On YouTube, it's APW Shout Crystal. Joseph, I want to thank you so much. Thank you. We look forward to
my new book,
again.
Y'all.
Yeah.
On the Cage to the Stage next month is coming out, y'all.
Keep going. I can't wait to see what 2020
on the Cage to the Stage.
Yeah. Man, I am so proud of you. Thank you guys so much for being here today. We'll see y'all in the next episode of Storytime Tuesday, 8 o'clock, Trisenda Payne. Tuesday, 8 o'clock, Trisenda Payne. Make sure you lock it in. We got some great ones coming up for you guys. Y'all have an amazing day. Get his book. He told you how to get it. We'll see y'all next time on Storytime. Thank you for coming through. And
thank you, sister.
For all those people who are just coming in, do the replay. Like, share, comment. Tell them if he blessed you, tell him he blessed you. Share the video. Go back and do the replay if you just logged in. God bless you. IG, before it cuts me off, I'm going to cut y'all off. So thank y'all so much for joining. Thank y'all. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you follow both of us. You can hit that button on the top. And we're going to see y'all next time because I don't want IG to cut me off. So God bless y'all. Thank you so much. All right. We appreciate y'all. We're going to end that over there. And to you right here on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, connect with this young man right here because he most definitely is doing some amazing things. So we thank you. We thank you so much. God bless you, Joseph, man. Thank you so much.
Peace and love, sister. Thank you for the opportunity.
We'll see y'all Tuesday. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.